do you really know your worth? This story might change the way you see yourself. Hamza was a boy from a small town who had always struggled with understanding his worth and identity. He couldn't figure out how the world saw him or how he should see himself. Everyone called him by different names. Some mocked him as the child of a poor man, some said he had no talent, and others labeled him as useless and good for nothing. Hearing such words again and again left Hamza restless. He started believing that maybe he really was worthless, but deep down, a small voice inside him whispered that perhaps this wasn't true. One day, his grandfather gave him an old watch and said, "Son, take this watch and find out its real value. Then come back and tell me what people think it's worth." Hamza took the watch and first went to a local market. A shopkeeper looked at the watch and said, "This is very old. I can only give you 500 rupees for it." Hamza told his grandfather about this, and he replied, "Now take it to a jeweler and see what he says." When Hamza took the watch to a jeweler, the jeweler examined it and was astonished. He said, "This is a rare antique piece. I can offer you 50,000 rupees for it." Hamza was shocked. Then his grandfather said, "Now take it to a museum and ask them." When Hamza went to a museum, the curator inspected the watch and said, "This is a priceless historical piece. We are willing to buy it for millions." Hamza returned to his grandfather and shared everything. His grandfather smiled and said, "Son, this is a lesson about the true worth of your identity. Those who don't understand your value will always underestimate you, but those who truly recognize your worth will see your real potential." Hamza listened carefully. His grandfather placed a hand on his shoulder and said, "But remember, just knowing your worth is not enough. If you want the world to see your value, you must work hard and prove it to yourself first." For the first time, Hamza realized that his value was not determined by others' opinions, but by his own understanding and self-worth. The next day, he stood in front of a mirror and made a promise. "I will not let anyone else decide my value. I will work hard and show the world what I am truly worth." Hamza started focusing on his strength. He worked tirelessly, learning new skills and developing his talent. Instead of wasting time worrying about what people said, he turned their words into motivation. The same people who once called him worthless now saw a different Hamza, confident, skilled, and unstoppable. Years later, Hamza achieved great success in his field. He was now respected, admired, and known for his talent. One day, a man from his old town approached him and said, "I never thought you would make it this far, but today you've proved us all wrong." Hamza simply smiled. "Your mistake wasn't in thinking that I would fail. The real mistake was believing that your words could define my true worth." He paused for a moment and said, "People's opinions change, but that doesn't change who I am. My worth was never in their words, it was always within me. Just because some people fail to see someone's value doesn't mean it doesn't exist." With that, Hamza walked away, not to prove anything to the world, but because he had finally realized that his worth was never in others' hands. It had always been his to believe in. Your worth is not defined by others' opinions but by your belief in yourself. Just because some people fail to see your value doesn't mean it isn't there. Keep working on yourself, and the right people will recognize your true potential. If you've ever been underestimated, comment, "I know my worth," and share this story with someone who needs motivation. If you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to Story Tales and hit the notification bell.